Get cozy everybody, because today we'll continue on with a game called Danganronpa Single File. Where were we? Here. I thank you for your introduction, Miss Loki, but I'm afraid I'm exhausted speaking to you. I'm afraid I've exhausted all of my questions for now.
No escape!
You're a researcher, aren't you? I'm sure that you have more questions for Mademoiselle of Mystery than that. Measly appetizer, of course.
Now see here!
No further questions for now. I break eye contact and get away from her, allowing her to get back to her seemingly Sisyphean task of climbing the tower towards the mail slot window. The reference tab has been updated with relevant info. What should I do? Speak to the blonde woman? Should I do it again? No, I think I've had enough for now. Use the intercom. Push the button on the intercom, curious if I will receive any sort of response. If I do, will it be the voice of one of the survivors or that of some sort of menace? To my surprise, the voice on the other end answers almost automatically and genially.
Oh dear.
Hello, welcome. I haven't seen you before. You must have come from one of the other parts of the island.
I am the ultimate researcher.
It is indeed a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Victor Leeds, Ultimate Researcher. My specialty is in the study of killing games. Killing games, huh? You could say I'm something of a killing game specialist myself.
Now see here!
Could I ask that you rephrase that into a less menacing statement? Certainly, apologies for the misleading introduction.
I'm known as the ultimate survival prepper. Charmed to meet you.
Oh, okay. When I call myself a killing game specialist, I simply meant that I'm well suited for surviving inside of them. I've had some hands-on experience as well. Ooh. This new situation didn't leave me much time to prep per se, but I've managed to secure a very favorable spot for myself all the same. You know, Charles, it is rather difficult to conduct all of this through the speaker. Would you mind meeting me face to face?
Terribly sorry.
I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen. Ever. A bit of a shut-in, is he? I suppose I can relate. Maybe we'll find some common ground. What should I ask? This Mr. Debunker. About yourself. The ultimate survival prepper, are you? What does that mean exactly?
Of course.
It's my talent. I survive disastrous situations by making the proper preparations. I collect not just basic necessities, but also items I need to maintain a quality of life, then hoard them inside a safe house, then I wait. It's actually quite simple. I'm surprised the Future Foundation finds it significant enough to label it an ultimate level talent. Then your safe house is somewhere inside the building they're calling a bunker, I take it? It'd be more appropriate to say it's the entire bunker.
Now see here!
I understand you're a survival prepper, but commandeering an entire building before anyone's had a chance to look inside is a bit antagonistic. You may very well be in the middle of a killing game situation here. Your decision is unconscionably selfish.
Terribly sorry.
I'm sorry, that's what being the ultimate survival prepper is all about though. I'm a very light sleeper. After we were deposited here, I woke up well before anyone else and secured my spot. I guess the fact that I think taking the bunker for myself is normal, and you think it's strange, is what makes me the ultimate survival prepper. Anyways, it's how I survive disaster scenarios like this one. The man's mad. Certainly he doesn't think he'll be allowed to hide inside there like a turtle withdrawn inside its shell, does he? But the game.
Oh dear.
It is odd, isn't it? We all came here to train ourselves as killing game survivors, sponsored by the Future Foundation, but this setup is more like a killing game than a training program. I'm very wary of it all, personally. Yeah, I can see that. You said you were a killing game survivor. Does this mean you've experienced a killing game before, Mr. Debunker?
But of course.
I did. It was called the Tornado of Trials. I was the only survivor to come out of that one.
Now see here!
Egads, a tornado, you say? I don't believe I ever ran across the details of that one in the course of my research. Would you mind telling me a bit about your experience?
But of course.
There's not much to tell because, much like this time, I was locked up by myself the entire time. I watched the others where I could, but there was only so much I could see.
Impossible.
On the contrary, quite simple. A man of science such as yourself, you ought to see the logic. What about the trials, the executions? How did you participate without exposing yourself? I found a means. I'll probably have to revise my strategy this time, but the layout is even better suited to it this time. I have a whole bunker to work with. There are so many fascinating survival tools in here. I'm sure I'll find something that solves everything and helps me to live to the end again.
Now see here.
And you feel no impulses to share any of that with the rest of us.
Terribly sorry.
I'm sorry, I hope you'll find another bunker out there, Victor. As if there would be a second. About the situation here at the bunker.
Oh dear.
Oh, are you asking if I'm worried about the blonde girl trying to get inside the bunker? I really don't see that as any concern at all. I wouldn't be hiding here if I thought someone could climb in. She's free to try, of course. I couldn't stop her if I wanted. But I wish she wasn't so noisy.
Very well.
I actually find myself a bit sympathetic to you in this instance, Mr. the Bunker. How did you know she's blonde, though? Can you see outside the bunker?
But of course.
I can. I'd rather not say how. Can't risk any of you disabling my ability to do so. Apologies.
Now see here.
For someone who offers so many apologies, you don't give very much up, do ya?
Terribly sorry.
I do not, hee hee. My stubbornness is sort of my ultimate talent, so if that girl wants to keep being stubborn, I suppose I can commend her for that. I just hope she doesn't hurt herself. She's also keeping her back turned towards the footpath with no sense of her surroundings. This is a very bad strategy for survival in a place like this. I'll be sure to pass along your concerns. Maybe I'll feel pity and let her in before it gets dark. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, Mr. Debunker. I've got to finish my own rounds about the island. I hope we'll get to meet face to face in the future.
Terribly sorry.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, but anytime you're interested in speaking, simply hail me on the intercom there. I'll also be working on another means of communication. I wish you luck, but always remember that preparation will trump luck every time.
Very well.
I'll keep that in mind. Okay. User, head somewhere else. Good luck with your endeavor, Miss Loki. I'm headed back to the Achuraro rail for now. Toodle-doo, I'll have this nut cracked in no time, or my title isn't the ultimate breaking and entry artist. Is that what it was? She's ignoring my question, focusing instead on her attempts to climb. I headed back to the waiting Ataru rail, feeling reassured in my own sanity next to that of the others I've just met. Well, Miss Xavier, what are your thoughts? They're both complete mysteries to me. I haven't heard of either of these characters, and their talents are... Well, frankly, if we were to assume the Future Foundation brought us here, they'd fit right in, wouldn't they? Those two both have talents well suited to be cultivated and strengthened by training, then passed on to others to benefit them inside of a killing game scenario.
Don't be an idiot.
Don't ask me to comment on these stupid diversions of yours. I already told you the truth of what's happening here. If you don't believe me, I want you to think they're real people. The Future Foundation selected for a mission, go ahead. If you don't believe me and want to think they're real people, the Future Foundation selected for a mission, go ahead.
Now see here.
It's like talking to a brick wall. Certainly you have some other thoughts about them. Only that neither of them seems even slightly trustworthy. I don't know a thing about the people these automatons are based on. For all I know, they're wacky characters that you came up with for your own amusement. I certainly hope not. It behooves a scientist to be imaginative, but that'd be a bit much. Where to go next? Port. The fact that a port is listed among the locations available is very curious indeed. Never had a port constructed before, you see. The island was not designed to be hospitable to groups of visitors. I can only assume the new facility plays into the military nature of the entire academy setting. Still, the implication of its addition is extremely curious. If there is a port, does that mean boats? If so, they would seemingly offer escape from the island. Such an obvious means of escape is almost certain to be sealed off to any captives, but I won't know for sure until I investigate. I punch in the destination and then wait for the Ataru rail to circle around to the proper part of the coast. Love this music. Ataru Sea. As predicted, the port is quite small, however, even this is better equipped to receive and harbor vessels than my island used to be. Currently, 2 vessels occupy the port, each with a nearly identical stranger aboard in the process of fixing it up. The first is a boat with Ataru Sea painted on its side. The ship has a massive gun attached and looks like to be a size appropriate for carrying several passengers. The young man aboard is whistling merrily as he works. By works, I really mean he's just mopping the deck of his ship. It seems like a strange priority in our current situation. He's certainly dressed the part of a boatman, although I wonder if his outfit isn't a tad outdated. Ow, my neck. Oof. On the other side is a strange-looking plane aboard skis in the water. I've heard of the development of amphibious planes before, but this is the first time I've seen one in person. Unlike the boat, this Ataro Air is only equipped to hold one person. Oh. The resemblance of the gentleman aboard the plane to the one aboard the ship is uncanny. I can only assume they're related. He isn't whistling, but he does appear to be absorbed in his work all the same, diligently maintaining the craft. There you go. And by maintaining his craft, I mean he's shining the windshield. No other facilities are visible here. Besides a single tented area, no more than poles hoisting a metal sheet canopy, where maintenance equipment is stored. Is it rude of me to think that it doesn't matter too much who I speak to first? Whether boat or plane, each scene looks entirely identical. What should I do? Speak to the young man aboard the boat. While I hate to interrupt his work, and the show tune he's whistling for that matter, I need answers from the young man on the ship. From this distance, I can see he's wearing a name tag. However, I have to imagine that it won't be much help in identifying him, seeing as he shares a last name with his brother. I clear my throat and approach, grabbing hold of a ladder and climbing awkwardly up the side from the dock to the deck of the ship. Excuse me, Mr. Sullivan. I believe you've yet to be introduced.
I am the ultimate researcher.
My name is Victor Leeds, specializing in the study of despair killing games. Well, I'll be. That's just the kind of person we need aboard our crew, isn't it? That's mighty convenient. Aboard my ship, though, I gotta say, you look a trout swimming in a school of salmon. I can't say I've heard that expression before. They look very different, don't you know? Trout and salmon.
Very well.
I see, you're correct on that point. I'm afraid I haven't caught your name. Golly gosh, my mad blower cattle, if she saw me being so rude. Being you're aboard my boat, you really ought to know.
Say ahoy to the ultimate mariner. You can count on me.
Skip Sullivan. If this guy Skip is his brother Soar, and because he flies a plane, if nautical knowledge be something you wish, flop on down to my deck for the dish. I'll keep that in mind. You are certainly dressed for the part. One thing has been concerning me though. You say your ship? Are you actually the captain of this vessel? Did you bring the ship here to the island?
No siree.
Well, shucks, no. Just like my brother and some other folks we met, I washed up ashore with no memory than a barnacle on a whale's backside.
Impossible.
Not literally washed up, right? That's more nautical humor. You got me. None of us washed up. We all kinda woke up in different places, as I understand. Still, here's my boat for one simple reason. My face is on the console that powers the boat, so I says to myself, Skip, you better figure out how to operate this thing. And I have, mostly.
Now see here.
You don't sound terribly certain.
No siree.
Gosh darn it, you got me again. Pains me to admit it, but I ain't seen a boat like this in all my years of scallywagging. It's gonna take a little while before I know my way around her, but once I do, I'd reckon from our best bet to escaping back to civilization. And we better get a hop along as soon as we're all ship-shape, cause otherwise... Does this seem like an ordinary training camp to you, Victor? This place has got me on edge like an anchor about to fall overboard. No, I take your meaning, though I will say you hide it well. Hey, nothing out there on land or sea that ain't improved by whistling while you work. Before I get back to mopping, I have a few other questions. What should I ask Mr. Younger Sullivan? Well, golly gee, Victor, what you see is what you get with me. I'm a mariner faithful, 100%. Always loved boats and I got so crazy about them. They named me the ultimate mariner. Always knew I was, of course, but having the title is a little extra spit to my shine.
Big brother.
Best of all is me and my brother are a pair of ultimates. Sea and air. Despair won't know what hit him when we show up on the scene. He can fly circles around him while I slip a boat out right under their noses. Whoever's behind this, they can't stand up to our dynamic duo. Actually, you're really rather lucky from a certain viewpoint.
No siree.
Excuse me, chum, but you're gonna have to explain to this simple sailor how getting tossed into a second killer game is a stroke of fortune.
Very well.
I simply meant that it's fortunate that we have an ocean, a port, and a boat where you can utilize your craft. Most killing games wouldn't have these features. Would you believe this is the second time it's come in handy? I guess if I look at it that way, I am pretty lucky. Ma always told me I was born under a strange star. I wonder if she was calling him lucky or trying to explain his odd behavior. About your game.
Impossible.
The fact that we've been provided a boat and a plane and have just the people to command them seems too good to be true. What are your thoughts on this training exercise? Pays to be a little skeptical in these turbulent times, but you can count on my bro and me. After all, we survived a killing game already ourselves, the Bay of Bears. 'Twasn't no little rinky-dink 16-man killing game either. The Bay of Bears was a war involving 100 people. A war? Did you say 100 people? How can it be that I, the ultimate researcher, have never heard of this before? Shucks, you may be the authority, but even I have some fish in the ocean I ain't laid eyes on yet. Ain't no shame in letting a thing or two slip past you. Still, it was a pretty big deal. I came out of that one feeling like I landed Moby Dick after all that fighting. I feel Captain Ahab better than the average killing game captive, to be honest. It does inspire confidence, though, to hear that you two survived such a massive game. How'd you manage that? Is everything alright? How did you manage that? Willikers, you'll have to excuse me losing my chum-chum. Thinking about that game makes me get a little green around the gills. I start to feel like running towards the nearest banister and yakking overboard.
Now see here.
I described that reaction just now a little worse than seasickness. I can see I'd better not push the issue right now. We'll talk about it another time then. About the situation here at the port. If I may note, using this time to mop the ship, which seems to be fresh off the assembly line, seems like a poor use of time. That's why I'm the ultimate mariner and you're not, buddy.
No siree.
Neglect your ship at its own peril. This is every bolt must be welded, every knot must be tied, and just so every deck must be mopped. No seafarer worth their salt is gonna trust somebody else to give them a clean ship. Gotta take it into your own hands.
Very well.
I see that your brother is of the same mind as you, albeit without the whistling.
Big brother.
Spot on, my chum. My brother takes his planes every bit as serious as I do my ships. Neither one of us is leaving here till we're sure these ladies are seaworthy. I certainly hope he isn't making his plane seaworthy. But then again, considering it's an amphibious plane, maybe he is. Actually, that's true as timber. Trust me, my brother wouldn't be caught dead making a water landing.
No siree.
When his plane takes off, it's like a go after a bread crust. It's not gonna land till it's got the perfect spot and the right opportunity. Must be nice to have such a close sibling.
Aye aye.
Exactly. Is that really how he looks at it? I was being polite, but to be trapped with your own brother inside of a killing game, knowing that one or both of you might die. It'd be better to enter alone, in my view. At least there's a chance that your sibling wouldn't be dragged into it in that hypothetical scenario. What would it do to this poor young man if his twin brother perished inside of a killing game? That's all for now. It's been a pleasure, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you for the spirited conversation.
Aye aye.
Anytime, but from now on, please call me Skip, or Captain Sullivan if you like.
Very well.
Oh, forgive me, it's a habit of mine. I was brought up in a very formal setting, and haven't had that much communication with others face-to-face since. Well, you best break it soon or else things are gonna be real confusing for everybody, considering me and my brother are both Mr. Sullivan. That's actually a good point. I'll do my best to fix it, Captain Sullivan. Plane. The brother in green brings his head up from the reflective surface of the cockpit glass once he sees I'm approaching. Rather than address me, he simply returns his focus onto the rack and gets back to shining the window. Never thought that I, a social recluse, would be the one burdened with taking the initiative on introductions. Ahem, may I have a moment of your time? We're doing the whole introduction, song and dance, now listen, egghead. Right now, you and I are strangers. We'll both pretend to care about each other's introductions while we're really just scrutinizing everything the other guy says. Well, I am a researcher by trade, but I assure you, I have no intention of overanalyzing at this stage. Sure, buddy, sure.
I am the ultimate researcher.
I'll start it. My name is Victor Leeds, specializing in the study of killing games. Why are you so sure that I'm looking for some flaw in your statements? Look around you, all this, it's a killing game. We thought we were coming here as students and we ended up in a fucking killing game instead. It's just like the first killing game there ever was. You're, what, a killing game analyst or something? This can't be news to you.
Now see here.
I understand your concern, but let's not be hasty. It has been posed by others that this is merely a setting created to simulate a killing game, created by the Academy for the sake of our training. You're not gonna get me to lower my guard.
Screw that.
I don't trust you or anybody here. Well, anybody except my little brother, anyway. Can you at least ask your name and specialty? Can you honestly not tell what my specialty is just by looking at me?
I'm the ultimate pilot. I'm not looking to make friends here, okay?
Hoyt Sullivan. I'm looking to do what a pilot does best. Fly the fuck out of here.
Very well.
I suppose I can't blame you for that. However, I do have a few more questions. Here we go. What should I ask the older Mr. Sullivan? Yourself. I already told you I'm the ultimate pilot, didn't I? What else is there to say? I'm the best there is when it comes to flying planes. It doesn't matter what type of plane, military or commercial, modern or antique, I fly them all. I can outfly anybody and shoot down anybody too, if it comes to it. Seems to be the closest thing to a favorable topic I've hit upon with this grouch so far. How do you get into airplanes, Mr. Sullivan?
Screw that.
That's creepy as shit, just say Hoyt. You've seen my brother, right? From day one, he was obsessed with boats. When it became clear he had a knack and a passion for it, I started to feel left behind. So I picked aviation. Then I worked at it and worked at it. I spent all my time in the air, training however I could. Finally, I was recognized by the Future Foundation. Now I'm the ultimate pilot at long last. What has it got in me?
Screw that.
2 fucking killing game roles. Me along with my brother. It's like the fact that we're a pair just makes us a tastier couple of targets.
Little bro.
I guess if there's any good news to come out of it, is that we can both watch each other's backs in here. There's another topic that seems to soften him up. Family bonds. Of course, I'm the one doing most of the watching. He's a bit of a goofball, as you can probably tell. But it's an older brother's job to be his brother's keeper, huh? Well said. I can definitely see the value of having someone you trust inside a game with you. Brilliant insight from the ultimate egghead. What should I ask you about the game? Did I say the game already? Alright. I'll say this much. This killing game looks cozier than the last one I was involved in. Can you tell me about it?
Screw that.
The fucking Bay of Bears, a killing game with 100 people in it. The battle royale of killing games. Bloody hell, that's unimaginable.
Screw that.
You're telling me it was nothing less than a modern warfare, surviving that shit show? The fact that we were picked again after all that, it means someone's got a twisted sense of humor. Yeah. How do you two both manage to bring an end to it? No offense, but I don't feel like sharing war stories with some egghead I just met a few minutes ago. Frankly, I don't feel like spilling my guts at all. I have to get this damn plane ready. You about ready to wrap up?
Now see here.
Yeah, nearly. Just a few more questions. About the situation here at the port. I find this curious. You say you're in a rush, but you appear to be cleaning the plane. It looks clean enough to be serviceable at this point.
Screw that.
Would you conduct your research with a dirty monocle, Doc? It's a bad analogy, but I don't know how to respond. Can't exactly tell him that, typically, I wouldn't wear whatever this thing is at all.
You got it.
You see, I'm not gonna fly with a filthy windshield. I need 100% visibility. I was wondering if you just derived some simple pleasure from seeing it clean like your brother appears to. Well, he's the ultimate mariner. If that's the way he keeps his ships, that's the best way to keep them. But in my case, you just happen to walk up to me, wiping the fucking windshield before I check out the landing gear. I see. Are you not curious about the rest of the island?
Screw that.
I intend to get off this fucking island the second I have the opportunity. I don't care what the rest of the place looks like. I don't even care who else is here.
Now see here.
You're going to leave everyone behind?
Screw that.
Well, I can't exactly fit you all in a one-man cockpit, can I? With even one extra person would offset the balance of the damn plane. My brother's boat will take care of all of you. Leave that to him. I'll take care of myself. And if you figure out a way to save everybody with your fucking monocle, be my guest, Point Dexter. I just may do that. I keep rising to his bloody insults. He's no more agreeable than Miss Xavier. I wonder if the two of them would get along. That's all for now. That's all for now. I'll let you focus on your escape plan.
You got it.
Finally, with any luck, we won't meet again. As much as I hate his attitude, he does have a point. I certainly wish him luck in fixing up the plane so that he can get off the island, even if it's just to remove himself from all this. If Miss Xavier's wrong and these are real human beings, they all deserve a chance at freedom. Even the rude ones. What should I do? Head somewhere else. Thank you both for your time. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again soon. Don't be too pissed off if I fly off by myself once I got this thing ready. It's not like I've got any motivation to hang around. He talks tough, but my brother's true blue. Neither one of us would go off and leave you fellas as island castaways. Just wait till we've got our ships in ship shape and we'll shuttle you home safe and sound.
Little bro.
Goddamn idiot, don't go making promises that I have to live up to. I guess I'll hold you to that then. I'm looking forward to our voyage. Cool. At times, Skip actually acts a bit more like the older brother, of course, even if Skip's technically younger, they're essentially the same age. The air pilot talks tough, but he seems to have a soft spot for his brother at least. Still, I'm not so foolish as to think that their efforts will bear results. There's simply no conceivable reason they'd be provided with working vehicles with which to escape. But I don't have the heart to trample over that optimism. And perhaps illogically, I want to hold on to a piece of it myself. The older brother may be a bit prickly, but all around they seem like harmless enough folks. There's really no chance that those vehicles of theirs will take us off the island, however. It feels almost criminal to let the brothers keep working on them. In fact, even if they did get those things working and operable, I'm not sure if I'd feel safe riding with them.
So you do have a brain.
You're right about that much. I'd stay away from that ship and plane. You did see the gun aboard the ship, right? Now you're the one jumping at nothing, aren't you? Would such a weapon really be operable inside of a killing game? I wouldn't count on it. Not that you need to worry about being blown to Kingdom Come yourself, but... Well, continue to treat it as a real killing game.
Very well.
Thank you for your concern, Mr. Xavier. Where to go next? God, I love this music. It would make sense for him to head to the academy. This building most directly calls back to the first game, upon which all others are modeled. The idea of regular schooling actually makes me sick to my stomach. I was homeschooled by my parents growing up, and I was thankful to be away from others. Of course, the connotations of a school such as this are worse than ever now in the aftermath of the first killing game. Social awkwardness isn't much to worry about in the face of the social deduction that takes place in such a setting. With a sense of unease, I input the island's largest building, one entirely unfamiliar to me, as the Ataru Rail's destinations. The looming building rose larger in my view, its flag waving in the summer breeze. Upon reaching the building, I can get a sense of its eerie stillness before I even leave the rail car. I can't help but feel that the structure was built for a larger group of students than the skill game can possibly hold. Indeed, as I open up the double doors and walk through the decorated, polished, but entirely vacant school building, I feel like an explorer at a haunted site. I don't do well with situations like this either. I can feel shivers running down my spine. The feeling of fear begins to subside, replaced by annoyance as I realize that besides the entrance to the West Wing hallway, all of the doors have been locked. Even the auditorium, often the first stop for captives in a game like this, is barred shut. These locks don't bear anyone's face. They're simply heavy-duty mechanical barriers with no apparent means of release. Undoubtedly, the Game Master plans to release these to reveal additional rooms related to the motives and the like. No person, with nowhere else to explore, I have moved through the West Wing hallway until finally I reach a tower at the end with a tall staircase. After 4 flights of stairs exhausting me more than I admit out loud, I managed to find another door with no lock. Curious, I peek inside. The woman inside has a massive hairdo and an almost alien-like looking jacket covering her from her round chin to the tops of her boots. The goggle and headphone piece she's wearing, along with the large console she's manipulating, make her feel relatable, at least from a standpoint of her interest in machines. But a smile on her face as she watches rows of brightly lit monitors inside the dim room is a bit unnerving. Uh-oh. Shit. Hey, fellas, I have to stop here. I gotta prepare for work. So yeah. This is Danganronpa Single File. Hey, we're progressing. Hooray for us. If you want to try the game for yourselves, the links are in the description. I still don't see Single File easily searchable on itch.io, which is weird. Anyway, that is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.